Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. So you're getting more videos. I said I was going to make more and I am making more, but I've got like a physical media dilemma of sorts and I want the advice of the entire fan base on here because you guys often do have some good advice when it comes to this stuff. So everyone knows I'm downsizing. I've said it in a million videos. I don't need to keep relaying it. You guys know what's the deal with the DVDs and all that if you watch the channel. I haven't really started with the Blu-ray portion, and I don't know if I'm going to do it with the 4Ks, because I do love the 4Ks. The Blu-rays are taking up a lot of room, so I might start downsizing some of those. But there is certain aspects where I might be like, what would you do in this situation? Let's say you have a movie like Old. I don't like this movie. I think M. Night Shyamalan got it wrong with this movie. I think it is just a terrible movie overall. But then you have that dilemma of it probably wouldn't get much if I sold it. It probably wouldn't sell for much. It might only sell for a few cents. So I have that dilemma of, do I keep it, fold it down into a sleeve? Do I just leave it on the shelf? Or do I try to sell it? What do you think you do with that sort of part of the collection? Like if you were downsizing or trying to get rid of stuff, trying to curate your collection a bit more. And there's a movie in there that you don't like. Do you keep it for reference or do you keep it in like a folded down sleeve, or do you keep it on the shelf, or do you just try to sell it and be like, you know what, don't need this anymore, don't know why I bought it? But that's the dilemma I'm having with physical media and the downsizing and all that. There's a lot of what I call bloat in the collection, and you know, while a lot of this is reflective, like the Emoji Movie, why do I have the Emoji Movie? I've never opened it. There are movies that I will watch, so I have been actively over here ripping my Marvel collection for educational purposes. So, got to make that very clear, I learned. You've got to make sure that people know you're doing it for educational purposes. Because at some point, I want to create a NAS, and I will walk through that process at some point. But for the time being, I have to get content ripped, which is educational. But anyways, back to the main thing. When there's stuff in your collection that you don't actually watch, or you don't actually intend to rewatch, like Old, I don't like that movie. I think M. Night Shyamalan got it wrong. What do you do in that case? Because you're probably not going to get much for that Blu-ray, 4K, whatever it is. You're probably not going to get much money. Now, it's not like where I can just resell like the Dragon box or whatever, or I'm not reselling the Dragon boxes just yet, but I am considering it. Because I watch the individual releases, the Funimation single disc releases, and I rarely watch the Japanese dub for Dragon Ball Z. Now, I do watch the Japanese dub for Super and all that newer stuff because I prefer that dub for the new stuff. But for the old stuff, I want that nostalgia of watching it on Cheese TV back in the day, you know? So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of bloat in this collection where I'm just like, do I want to keep certain Blu-rays, or do I just want to fold them down, or do I want to try to get some money? What's the deal? Obviously, it's my collection. I'll have to make that decision at the end of the day, but I'm just wondering, what would you do in that situation? This is something that I want to put to the fan base, because you guys often do come onto these videos and say, get us more involved. We are here because we like listening to you. We like getting engaged. And while I don't go through on like every comment in the comments, I am reading the comments. So it's like, there are sometimes people who get a bit out of line in those comments, and I have to kind of nudge them and say, don't come back. But, you know, for the most part, I see the fans in those comments. I do read them. I do give out likes here and there, depending. I don't like to give out too many, because back when I was giving out likes to everyone, it just oversaturated my likes, and everyone was like, which comment are we meant to be looking at? So it depends on whether the comment aligns with what I'm feeling and what I believe is the correct one to highlight. But it's not every video. I don't do that every video, but I will give out the likes, well, the hearts. You know, the hearts are what I reserve, but the likes, I'll give out those, you know. Sometimes you'll see little likes, but that's usually just me liking them, you know. So I am in those comments actively reading them, so don't think I'm not reading them. I am reading the comments. It's just, you know, how long have I been doing this for now? A year? Assume there's probably about a couple hundred videos. I can't do it with every video, you know. I just go to the latest comments, but I try to get through everything, but it's still pretty impossible to get around to everything. But what do you do in that situation? I want to know. I want to know what you do in your collection. Like, would you even have this because you probably curated and didn't go out and buy a movie that you were just going to watch? So that's why I've been renting a lot more. I mentioned about Sonic 3, wherever it is, Sonic 3. So I haven't got that yet, but I am going to buy that one. And people might have said, why did you pay $9? when you could have just went out and bought it. That's $9 you could have put towards, having it. And people will say, but wasn't it on Paramount? It wasn't on any streaming services in Australia. I tried. I looked at Netflix, I looked at Paramount, I looked at Amazon, I looked at everything, and Sonic 3 was not on any of them. So it was either pay to rent, or which was $7, pay to own, which was an extra $2, like $9.99 or whatever, or go out and buy the Blu-ray, which I don't even know if I'm going to like. So I opted for the cheaper one, the ownership part of it, even though digital ownership isn't real ownership in my view. It's there, but they can take it off you. I mean, if iTunes ever said, we don't want you to have that, it's gone. But yeah, that's why I've been renting. I've been renting stuff. I did it with Conclave as well. Conclave was not on Amazon available to stream. It wasn't on Netflix. It wasn't on anything when, Pope Francis passed, and then they had this new Pope now. So when that was all happening, I wanted to watch Conclave, and it wasn't on anything, so I just rented it. I was like, oh, I'll just rent it for I think it was like $6 on iTunes, and I was like, you know what, $6, that's half the price of, or 1/3 of the price of a theatre admission if I was to go to the cinemas. It's not bad, and also I don't really want to run out and spend $30 on the Blu-ray because I don't know if I'm going to like it. At the end of the day, I did like Conclave. I think it was a decent movie. Ending was a bit weird, but, it was a decent movie. Same with Sonic. I really liked Sonic. I really liked Sonic 3, so I'm definitely going to add that. I missed the JB Hi-Fi buy one, get one free sale, so didn't go into JB Hi-Fi at all. Even if I did, there's many stores in Sydney that are starting to get rid of their physical media collections. I'd have to venture into Sydney City or out Western Sydney or something to find Blu-rays at this point. There are some that still have them, but, stuff like East Gardens and stores like that are starting to really get rid of them. Yeah. So, back to the topic, because we went off down that rabbit hole. I know I go down these rabbit holes a lot, but I'm trying to bring back the vibe of the channel, Back when I started this, I would rant about anything. We don't know what I'm going to talk about. The last one, people were saying you went down this complete path of talking about Snow White and all this other stuff. Yeah, but also, I did that from a centered point. Yes, I think the left have completely done the wrong thing. I think the right have completely done the wrong thing. So when you stay centered, you can kind of see both sides and have just a eagle-eyed view of what both sides are doing and make your own determinations. So that's why I say I sit in the center. I sit center neutral. I like to know what is happening on both sides, and then I make my own decisions. But, a movie like Snow White, let's talk about Snow White. Let's say that came out, it probably is going to come out on physical media. Disney don't do it in Australia, but I could import it if I wanted. But if that's something like, let's say you bought it and said, hey, I don't like Snow White, but I bought it or whatever, what would you do in that case? Would you sell Snow White, or would you try to sleeve it so it's there as a point of reference, or do you just keep it on the shelf and say, hey, I want to keep the case, it expands your collection. It looks great on YouTube as well. Look at this, I really need to bring back the vibe of this channel. Call it the physical way again or something. We're never bringing back the physical way, by the way. Do it a physical way. The physical way channel. Remember the physical way? People who've been here for a while will know what I'm talking about. So the channel used to be called, I believe, Jamie Toomey Live or something, but I wasn't doing anything live, so I just scrapped that and started calling it the physical way. Then I did the physical way for a bit. It was a fail. And then I brought it back to, you know what? Let's call it Jamie Toomey Presents, because I'm not doing it live. I'm doing it recorded, and then I'm uploading it. So, that's the whole thought behind the thing. And even now, I'm still thinking, like, I should rebrand the channel, but I've done that a bunch of times. It's always been a fail. Just stick with what I know. But, authenticity with this is kind of the key, I want to know what you guys will do, because if you guys are getting involved in my collection, then I believe I'm going to make the right call when I do whatever I need to do in my collection. And at the end of the day, you guys watch this and will say, that's a terrible idea. I've had people who've unsubscribed saying, oh, how dare you put your DVDs in sleeves? At the end of the day, it's my collection. But I do rely heavily on what my fan base says. And a lot of my fan base were like, yeah, you know what? We're looking at similar sort of things. We're looking at downsizing, selling some off, There's a lot of people who have a lot of bloat in their collections. Like, I'm just going to quickly look through here. Why do I have, John Safran versus God was an alright series back in the day, but do I really need that on DVD? Like, don't really need it. It's there, but it's not like something I'm going to actively watch all the time. Oliver, I've got that on 4K. Why is the DVD still here, that's a prime example of maybe I should fold this one down as a point of reference. So if I ever need to go back to it, it's there, but I'm not really going to use it. Compared to something like Old, where I'm probably never going to ever rewatch it, and it's not, I don't need it for reference, I should probably potentially look at selling that one, even though I'd probably only get like 50 cents for that thing. But let me know in the comments, guys. I want to know. It's a physical media dilemma, and let me know what you think, because you guys want more videos. I'm going to get you more involved in the next part of this. So, like, tearing down the Blu-rays, I'm going to start saying, like, if I start taking them out of the covers, I'm going to start showing you what I'm taking out of the covers and why I'm taking them out of the covers. I'm going to explain my process with that. So I've already decided about that when I get to that point. But I would like to know what you guys would think. Let me know. And I know someone did ask in the last one about Dragon Ball Z collection, like show my Dragon Ball Z collection. There are videos on the channel that have looked at that already. I have done that previously. The Dragon Ball Z collection is in boxes now. I like most of it is in the sleeves, the single individual releases. I've got the Japanese Dragon Box over here, Dragon Box 2. I've got the orange bricks that I'm going to try to sell. Got the what's it called? The why is it slipping my mind right now? The Dragon Boxes. I don't know why I forgot the Dragon Boxes temporarily. But yeah, the Dragon Boxes are up there to the side. I'm probably going to keep them. Might sell them if I can, like, sell them for like $3,000 or something. I don't know what they're worth. I think people are paying insane prices, overinflated at the moment. And I don't want to sell them overinflated. I might sell them for 2.5, maybe 2. I don't know what they're worth. I haven't analyzed it. Haven't thought about it. I've just said, oh, I could consider selling those, maybe. Same thing I do with Columbia Classics. It's like, I'm probably never going to sell it. But it's good to know that's worth some money, you know, especially number 1 over there. That's a French import one. So that's from France. It's got the English. It's all English, but the back of the cover is France, and you can tell it's a French release. But we went down a rabbit hole. Let me know what you think. I'll get back to you in the next one, and I will be reading those comments. So whatever you put down there, don't think I'm not reading them. I am there. I am reading them. I only do one video like a week at this point, so I am reading the comments. Trust that. Anyways, let me know what you think. Peace.